So, how do you maintain a healthy financial boundaries with family? What do I mean when I say healthy financial boundary? What I mean is simply ensuring that you can help family members to a certain level, but still be sure to take your considerations and your financial needs and objectives into question when you're helping your family members. Those boundaries, just like any other boundaries in life, knowing where to reach when you're helping someone, knowing where to stop and where to start when you're helping someone, and always knowing which questions to ask yourself before you help someone. That is just setting a healthy financial boundary. And it is really important because most of the time you want to maintain a healthy financial boundary plus maintain the relationship in itself. So we don't want financial issues coming into these our relationships and our familial relationships. So how do you ensure that the boundaries are quite safe, your objectives are intact, your goals are intact, and you are still helping to the level that you need to help? I'm not saying do not help family. I'm saying there needs to be certain boundaries in how you do it and how you go about it. Yeah. So this is Kenneth Joe. Welcome once again to Ken's Money Matters. Thank you for those who are coming back. For those who are new to my channel, please consider subscribing and sharing as we grow together financially. Financial literacy is everything right now, and if we can build a wonderful financial education base, we can be sure to rise together as a people. Anyway, I'm going to give a few tips on how you can ensure that you maintain that healthy financial boundary with your family and ensure that the relationships are intact, so that you don't become, the one who's mean, the bad one. Sometimes we are afraid for these judgmental issues, judgmental notions of the society. But you know what? At times, you gotta be principled and know what you want. And that's very important in financial issues. So number one, be very honest with your feelings. You have to be extremely honest with how you feel about someone asking you for money, about helping someone financially. Ask yourself how you feel. Sometimes we go ahead and help people even though we feel so negative about it. And for me personally, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. I think we need to be very honest with how we feel. If we feel that someone is becoming, too much in terms of, asking for money all the time, or they're becoming a recurrent guest in terms of finances, I think sometimes you feel bad about it or you feel negative about it. But you may be fearful. You may not want to approach the issue directly. You may not want to talk to the person or talk to someone else about the issue. I think the best thing is to be very honest with your emotions and your feelings and ask yourself what you really want to do. I find out that if you are honest with your feelings about the situation, then you open a way in which you can solve the situation in an amicable way, in a realistic way. So for me, I think being honest with how you feel about helping that person is quite important. Number two, know your goals and objectives. And here I mean your financial goals. For example, if you have money that is saved somewhere and this money is for this particular project, and there's somebody who is coming to you and they want to ask you for money and they will give it back, but maybe that they will not give that money back, or they will not give it back when they say they will. I believe that you should have those healthy boundaries and say, this particular money, this amount of money that I have is meant for this particular project, and I am not going to spend it for whatever reason. So in that case, you're just setting boundaries. You're saying, I want to help you, but I'm not in a position to, because you also have your financial goals. If you have those strict and direct financial goals, I realize that you tend to attract people who have the same kind of boundaries, and therefore you don't actually disagree with people, because those who are willing to take advantage of you will keep off, and they will not, come and ask you for money all the time. Even though some people will say you are a bit mean and stuff, but you know what? Sometimes you require those boundaries. Yeah, it's very important to keep those boundaries. Number three, how do you keep these healthy boundaries with family? Know your limits in terms of helping people. Don't just help people because you're doing it to impress someone. Don't help people because you're afraid to say no. Don't help people because you don't want to hear what people will say about you, or you don't want to, confront what the society will think. Help people based on your own limits. When it has reached a certain limit whereby you don't feel you need to be helping any longer, maybe based on the previous reasons we mentioned or based on any other reason, please do not help. Just know your limits and be very aware of them. Know that, even if it is my sister, my brother, my mom, it reaches this point, it's a deal, we've done my part for that matter or for that period of time. You've done your part, and therefore you're not willing to go any further because that may jeopardize your other plans. Yeah. There's number 4. Inspire people. Inspire people to seek other financial means. Do not be someone who creates dependency in family. One of the biggest issues we're having is dependency, financial dependency, especially those of us in the diaspora. Sometimes we create it without even knowing. We create financial dependency, and therefore people look up to us, or we show people a life that is not real sometimes, and therefore they start looking up to that life and they start asking for money, believing that you have a lot of money. So try not to create that dependency. Try not to be someone who is always ready to help and give the money instead of showing people how to actually get the money. And I think this is quite important. This is extremely important for most of us because the cycle of poverty is extremely detrimental to our growth as a people. The cycle of poverty detriments our financial growth. So I believe that if you try to be realistic with people and sometimes tell them, I believe you have 1, 2, 3 skills, or I believe you can acquire these skills, or I believe you can do this job and get this money on your own, you're helping them. Be realistic with your assistance. Be realistic with helping people. Tell them, there are other ways of getting money apart from asking for loans, which you do not know how you may actually give back. So you may actually find out that you're helping them more than they may realize at the moment. But be someone who is always open to share ideas, someone who is always open to share skills, someone who is always open to share information about how someone can help themselves instead of just giving the money. Yeah, because again, I think giving the money all the time can become a big factor or a negative factor, and creating that cycle of poverty or that cycle of dependency is not a good thing for us financially. It's not good for me who is helping, and it's not good for the other person who is receiving the help. So be sure to always give information where it's necessary and not the money. Sometimes they just want the information, they want the knowledge, they want the encouragement, they want the inspiration to get what they want. Yeah. Then another point, which is number 5, I believe, always know that you are an individual. Even if you are a unit as a family, know that your financial security as an individual matters a lot. Your network matters as an individual. So be sure to always think about yourself. Be selfish sometimes. Life requires us to be selfish at times. Think of yourself. Think of where you want to get to. Think of you as a person and not you as a unit with the other family members. Because you know what? At the end of the day, every single person has their own financial dreams, financial goals, financial objectives, and they want to achieve those objectives. And if you start thinking of yourself, being a bit selfish when it is required, when it is necessary, then you are allowed to be selfish and think of yourself as an individual. Know that you are a person who has needs that are met using these finances. So if somebody is coming and going to make that a bit unattainable, then it is time to actually tell them, you cannot help them anymore. They can find help somewhere. Always know that there are other people who can help and you're not the only person who can help them. So I just believe these are some of the ways that we can help keep these healthy financial boundaries, because one of the big issues we have is that people do not know how to say no. People do not know how to keep healthy financial boundaries with other people in the family or sometimes with friends. So these same principles will apply to friends, those close friends, those best friends, someone you maybe grown up with since you were children and stuff. It's sometimes it's about choosing yourself. It's about looking at your own life situation. It's about your own financial security. It's about your own financial goals. So make sure you keep that in mind all the time. So those are some of the ways I believe you can manage to keep those healthy boundaries with families. If you have any suggestions, if you have something to add, if you have something to say, please don't hesitate to comment below.